funny. Oh. Amanda! I didn't even know. Hi! Oh my gosh, there's so many of you. Can you. Sorry, I did. Can you hear me? Because yesterday I had problems with my headphones, so I just want to check. If you can hear me, can you just leave me like a little thumbs up or something? Yeah, you can hear me? Yay! Oh, good! I'm very excited as well. So we have a few more seconds to wait. I'll just wait a little bit longer. How is everyone doing on this fine sunny day? Well, it's sunny here in London. Thanks, Amanda. How are you, Sandra? So nice to see you. Thanks for joining. I didn't know that you could actually have filters on when you're doing this. It's so bizarre. No. I just want my normal face to come on. There we go. Okay, no problem. Hopefully, what I'm gonna do afterwards is this is currently being recorded, so as soon as I've finished the live show, then I will record it and make it, and then so I'll download it and then I'll turn it into a video which will be uploaded on Instagram TV as well as YouTube. So, what time is it? I need a clock in this office. In this office? In this kitchen. Brilliant. Yeah, it's super sunny over here, which is really good. Welcome to my little kitchen. It's very tiny, as you can see. It's tiny, but it's functional. So this is where the magic happens. So am I, Amanda. So am I hungry. I have so much stuff. Believe it or not, this is actually a cut down version because over the Easter holidays, we took everything down. Everything. We cleared out all the cupboards. I chucked out a whole bunch of stuff that I wasn't using, the things that I had hanging around that were just collecting dust. And when you live in a small apartment like this one, storage is gold. So I just had to do a massive clear out, and we gave it a lick of paint, so it's a lot brighter now. And I did a lot on the or sort of ergonomics of the kitchen, so where things are placed so that everything is within reach. Hi Rachel, so nice of you to join. Hello. I might wave. How did it? Yeah, there you go. I just waved. You're making brownies. Oh, good. Yeah, you know what? One thing that I've discovered just through talking to friends and people that speak to me over social media, everybody's gone into baking. This whole baking frenzy, and the other day, I needed to get some flour because I wanted to make something. I think I was trying to make some pancakes. Couldn't find any flour for days. In fact, I still can't find any flour. This is so bad. Right, guys, welcome to the Sunday Cooks live cooking afternoon. Just a quick reminder, you can't buy bloody flour here. Yeah, I know, you can't buy flour at all. It's ridiculous. So I think I still have I have a little bit of flour left, so I just can't make anything too involved. I was hoping to start making bread and things like that, but anyways. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to start just a couple housekeeping things. I'll be able to see partially your comments and your questions and things. If I don't respond, it is also because I'm using one device. I haven't figured out the technicalities of using two devices. So I'm using one device to film, to stream, and all of that. And so bear with me. I will get to your questions momentarily. But to introduce, so every week I cook on Thursdays at 12:30 here on IGTV Live, where I draw on ingredients that you guys submit. So every now and again, you know, you might go into your pantry cupboard, like this is my pantry cupboard in here, and you might go, oh, I've got a whole bunch of ingredients in there that I just don't know what to make with. So like I've got these gherkins, actually I love gherkins. But, you know, you might have, I don't know, you might have, here you go. I've got, for example, I've got these sunflower seeds, a whole pack of sunflower seeds, and I just don't know what I want to do with them. You might go into your refrigerator and, I don't know, you might find that you've got a bag of bean sprouts and you don't know what to do with them. So the whole idea is I want you guys to share with me a couple ingredients that you have in your store cupboard or your kitchen, and send them to me in a 60-second video clip of you introducing those ingredients. And what I will do throughout the week is I'll put together a recipe using your ingredients, and in most cases I tend to add other ingredients as well, just because so for today's episode, my friend and follower Chad, who unfortunately can't be with us today, he's had a personal emergency come up, but I'm using his ingredients, and his ingredients were, let me say, first of all, he's submitted two ingredients, and they were quite interesting. When I first read them, I thought, okay, does that even exist here? For those of you who don't know, I'm based in London in the UK. Let me just check. I'm so giving you the most random ingredients for next week. Hey, do you know what? After today, fingers crossed, it goes well. I'm up for a challenge. So the ingredient that he submitted, there were two. The first one was rice, which we all know what rice looks like. So rice. And then the second ingredient came in this. And when I set out to go, first of all, it was, when did he submit it? He submitted not so long ago, so right in the middle of lockdown. You know, it was at the beginning of when things were kicking off here in the UK. So it's canned chicken. Canned chicken. Apparently it's a thing. So this friend of mine who submitted the canned chicken as his ingredients, he lives in a very remote place, and it got me thinking about how some people might not have access to major supermarkets like we do here in London, or perhaps you live in a remote area, so you have to rely on canned food and canned goods because they'll last longer in your pantry. So I said to him, you know what? I am going to take the canned chicken and I'll make it a mission to create something, you know, delicious. Fingers crossed. So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be making a adobo. And adobo is a Filipino dish which is made up of, originally, it would have been made with soy sauce, with coconut vinegar, as well as some herbs like bay leaves. But I couldn't find coconut vinegar for my usual Oriental food shop, so I'm just using regular vinegar here. Speaking of ingredients, I think we shall hop right to it. So let me show you the ingredients for today. We're gonna be making the chicken adobo using the canned chicken. And it'll come with. I've added some extra ingredients just to amp up the vegetable intake and to make it super delicious. So hopefully you can replicate the recipe from your home. All of the ingredients will be listed out in the description box once I've posted the recording of this on IGTV as well as YouTube, so watch out for that. But I think yes, can go. Let me just check on the comments before we continue, because I'm so giving you random. Yeah, I bet you will. Canned chicken, yeah. Yeah, okay, let's get going, people. So, I will make sure that the video is saved. So, ingredient-wise, here we go. So, I hope you can all see. I've got so the canned chicken and the rice were the ingredients that he submitted. I've also got some bean sprouts. I've got 1 white onion. I had a couple radishes that were knocking about in the fridge, a red chili. I've got some garlic. I've got some lime. I've got some baby leaf spinach. Behind me, I've got some fresh coriander. Then I've got more garlic here. The rice. So he submitted 1 rice. I actually thought that I'd make something, I'd bring just something a little bit different. So I've actually got some steamed basmati that I've prepared earlier that is keeping warm here. But I also have, and this is quite interesting, I've also got this red rice. Let me give you a little close-up, bear with. Woo! Hello. So this red rice is actually really quite interesting. And I'll put the details of how to find it and what it's called later on. But if you can see, so it's... Let me just do this. There you go. So this is what it looks like in its pure form. So the grains still have their little sort of husk surrounding them. They look black pretty much when you first buy them. And then when you cook them, they don't go soft, like super soft. So you would never create a very fluffy, texture to your red rice. But what it makes is this kind of like this is what it looks like when it's cooked, but it's very sort of, it's full of flavor. It's very nutty. It has a bit of a nutty flavor to it, and I just thought I'd use it for this recipe for more of a textural contrast to go with the jasmine rice. So I cooked them separately, because if you cook this with the jasmine rice, then your jasmine rice will turn into this color. So if you're going to cook anything and you want to put on a plate, the 2 ingredients together so that they have contrasting colors, I definitely would not cook this with anything else but its own. All you do when you make your rice is just a little pinch of salt, and that's pretty much it. I want to show you a quick tip about cooking rice, because sometimes it's very easy with rice to either overcook it, for it to come out really gloopy and really sort of like stodgy. And so this is a foolproof method to prepare your rice before you cook. So what you will need is one of these. So it's a fine mesh strainer. And you also, let me get some rice. Da, 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 da. Okay, so a heavy pan. And you always want to start with cold water. And the first step that you want to do is you want, I've got rice everywhere now. The first thing is you want to do is you want to wash your rice. Because each grain would have been, there'd be a lot of friction in these bags, so each grain will be enveloped in some sort of rice starch. And it's the rice starch that if you leave it while it's cooking, then it will create a very sort of gloopy kind of mess. So you want to measure out your rice, and this is for demonstration purposes. I'm just going to use a little bit, okay, because I don't like to waste food. And then what you want to do is you want to bring it to your sink, okay, and all you do is you wash it. You wash it, and look out for the liquid underneath, because it will run very sort of opaque at first, and the moment that it runs entirely clear, that means that your rice is ready to cook. So you drained it, you place it into your pot. Now, in terms of water to rice ratio, the rule of thumb is there should be at least your thumb worth of water above the line of the rice. So I usually go like this. I told you, I don't measure anything. I hardly ever, actually. So yeah, so if you just use your thumb as a guide and make sure that the water level is about this much above the rice. And then all you do is you place it onto your heat source and bring it to a boil. And then once it's boiled, then I switch off the heat and then I clamp on a heavy lid on top, and then that way it'll continue steaming through the residual heat left in the pan. And all in all, it should take about 15 minutes, sometimes a little bit less. Also watch out because the different types of rices cook at different times, so that's also worth noting and researching on. I'm basing this way of cooking based on basmati rice. So, let's go back to the ingredients. So, and then I have some white wine vinegar, some dark soy sauce. I've got some sesame oil. So sesame oil is used as a finishing oil. It's best not to use it to cook, simply because it is, it can be a carcinogen, but also it just it doesn't deal very well with too much heat. So I use it entirely just as a finishing oil, when you're making a stir fry, for example, to add that slight nutty flavor and that slight gloss on all the vegetables. It's a really good way to do that. And then I just have some light olive oil. You can use a vegetable oil for this. I've got some bay leaves as well that I'm going to be using. So I've just seen in the comments that quite a few of you have just made it. So just to recap, I will be making a chicken adobo dish, which is a Filipino-inspired dish. Traditionally, it uses coconut vinegar, as well as soy sauce, bay leaves, some garlic, some ginger, some chilies, and then you allow it to marinate with fresh chicken. But the mystery ingredient that was submitted by you guys well, not all of you, by one of you guys, was this canned chicken. So I've never cooked with canned chicken before. I don't typically use a lot of processed food in my cooking, so this is going to be a real challenge. And I thought long and hard about presenting this today, because I just thought that there are some of you who might be out there in lockdown or in self-isolation who have no choice but to rely on canned food. So this is just a little bit, especially for your protein source. But so this is just an idea that you can take away and create at home. Okay, so I'm going to move my ingredients to one side, and then we're going to start getting everything ready. And I'll try and read the comments while that's happening. Okay. The joys of small kitchen. Thankfully, I've got one of these boards that can go over my sink. Whoops. Here we go. That can go over my sink. So now I have space on my kitchen counter. So, just while I get my other board out, if any of you guys want to participate by submitting your ingredients for the next couple of episodes, feel free to send me a direct message or send me a 60-second clip of you videotaping yourself with your ingredients. Make sure that you submit up to 5 ingredients only, and that way I can take it and then think about a recipe and then cook it for you for the upcoming episode. Right, so the first thing is that we're going to do, so for those of you who've just joined, I have already cooked my rice. We're making a rice bowl with this chicken adobo. So I've got some basmati rice that have been I've got some black rice that has also been cooked, and I'm just keeping them warm to one side. Oh, wrong. Just keeping them warm to one side. And I'm going to turn my video camera this way. Okay. I think I figured out the trick. I can do this. Q Cyrus, thank you so much for joining us today. You made it. I feel very honored that you've set up an Instagram account just to join us. So I'm going to prepare my vegetables and my aromatics. So the first is my onion. I've also got my garlic. So I'm just going to... So for this recipe, this will serve 2. Again, I'll put the ingredients in the description box below. So I'm just going to use 2 cloves of garlic for this. Put the rest of my garlic in there. Okay, I've got my my onion. Okay. Oops. The garlic that ran away. Okay. So with my garlic, you can either, mince it with your knife, or you can use one of these. I always recommend having one of these to hand because they're so good for crushing. They have these little holes. You pop your garlic in like this, and then you press it out. So I'm going to press it in a bowl because we're going to create a little bit of a marinade first. Okay. Because we want to infuse that flavor into this canned chicken. Okay. So, there's my garlic. I'm also going to add a little bit of red chili. I just need a little bit for now. The rest of it is really going to just be used as garnish. Okay, so just gonna finely dice it and try not to chop your fingers off. So if you're asking me questions right this minute, I'm not watching because I don't want to chop my fingers off. Always curve your fingers when you're slicing. Make sure that your knives are super sharp because you want to be, it needs to be efficient. Right, so in here I'm going to use my vinegar, and you want to measure about, so I've got my measuring cup here, so you want to measure about 50 mils of white wine vinegar. So the other week I didn't have any white wine vinegar and I didn't have any coconut vinegar, so I actually used balsamic vinegar, and to be honest, it actually worked so well. It created a very deep flavor profile, very caramelized. It was absolutely delicious. I was a bit dubious at first, but it worked. So I've got my white wine vinegar, which I'm going to pop into my bowl here. The next ingredient will be my soya sauce. Okay, and I'm going to be using 60 ml. That's 60 milliliters of the dark soya sauce, and that's going to go into my bowl. Okay, the next ingredient is, which I didn't introduce you to, is a half a teaspoon of brown sugar. That's going to go in here. Then you want to add your bay leaf. These are really great, guys. If you have lots of spices and you typically place your spices in their original containers in your cupboard, it just takes a whole lot of space. So these are just a couple quid. I bought mine on Amazon, and it's now my spice rack, in inverted commas, is right here in my little flavor zone. Nicely organized. I love the fact that it has their little windows so you can see exactly what you have. You can write on them, or you can put your what is it called? Get your label machine out and you can label things. Okay, so back to here. I've got my bay leaves. I'm gonna use 2 in here. Okay. Right, so let's have a look at this canned chicken. I'm so nervous, to be perfectly honest. I'm really nervous about this. Like I said, I've never cooked with canned chicken. I don't usually buy canned meat. So this is a new one for me. Okay, guys. If I could describe to you how it smells, it's questionable. So this is what it looks like. No, Cara, neither did I. I had no idea that canned chicken was a thing. This is new to me. I mean, let me turn this around a bit. It smells like, chicken that's obviously been cooked, and it would have been cooked before it's been placed in here. I originally thought it was going to smell like cat food, but I promise you it doesn't. Let's have a look at the ingredients list in here. So it has chicken breast. 85% of it is chicken breast, which, okay. It's got water, salt, sugar, pork gelatin, okay. Stabilizers. So if you don't eat pork, don't buy chicken in a can. Gelling agent, yeast extract, antioxidant, flavoring preservatives, sodium nitrite. Interesting. Okay, let's get back to it. Okay, so this is we have some more people. Hi. Smells like a bad decision. Yes, it's interesting. So, for those of you who've just joined, I'm using ingredients that were submitted by one of my followers from the Sunday Cook. Every week I pick out up to 5 ingredients that you guys submit, and then I create a recipe. And today's recipe uses the canned chicken, and I'm making a chicken adobo rice bowl lunch. Okay, so I'm gonna get a different bowl board because I don't want to contaminate this one. I'm gonna flip this over. Oh gosh, it's so gelatinous. Okay, this is different. I mean, there's all this gelatin around. I'm a bit okay. Well, as I said, I like a challenge, and this is a challenge. Okay, so I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna dice it. I think dicing makes perfect sense in this scenario. Okay. I'm gonna dice it into cubes. Okay, and I'm gonna throw it into my marinade. Okay. Right. Great. I've placed everything. So in my bowl, just to recap, I have some white wine vinegar. If you can get a hold of some coconut vinegar, use that. I've also got some dark soy sauce, 2 bay leaves, a little bit of red chili has gone in there, half a teaspoon of brown granulated sugar, and the infamous canned chicken. Right, so I am now going to give this a good mix. So this normally, I mean, this recipe, you would normally use fresh chicken. I highly recommend that you use the sort of darker meats in the chicken. I typically would remove the skin because this is more like I would remove the skin of the chicken first, and then I would then marinate it overnight if you can. That's really great, but you can marinate it, you can make it up to the minute, and then put it aside. Okay, so let me put this aside. Let's prepare the rest of the ingredients. So we're gonna chop some onion really quickly. I'm going to bring this across. Okay, while I do this, chicken doesn't belong in a pan. I know, yeah. I think, unfortunately, for those of you, people who might be in a remote location, in lockdown, and don't have access to food, and I know that my friend, my follower who had submitted the ingredient, he lives in a very remote area, and he's in complete lockdown, so this was an ingredient that he had in his pantry cupboard for quite a while, and figured, you know what, I need to make something with this. Okay. So I'm using half an onion here, which I'm going to put to one side. Okay. Then I'm going to take a couple of my radishes. These radishes have been washed, so I'm just going to thinly slice them across. Okay, you want, I mean, I just like for presentation purposes, but these little radishes. They just give this little burst of pepperiness. It's quite, quite nice. When you're cooking, I always believe in having contrast in flavor, contrast in texture. So this rice dish, you'll have the fluffiness of the jasmine rice. You'll have that nuttiness coming from the red rice that I cooked earlier. You'll have a little bit of heat from the chili, a little bit of tang from the lime juice that I'm going to be using. Then I've got some baby leaf spinach, and I've also got some bean sprouts. So we're going to go ahead and start cooking these. So that's all we really need for the time being. So let's go to the stovetop. Oops. Sorry. Here we go. Whoa. Sorry, guys. Okay, here we go. So I'm not going to cook my radish. I'm going to keep them raw because they, it gives a bit of freshness. But what I might do actually, and I just thought about it now, is I'm going to put my radish into a bowl, and I'm going to pickle them. Why not? I'm going to pickle them. So, I mean, the pickling is super easy. I'm going to use the white wine vinegar in here. Oops. So I'm just going to make a very, very quick... Sorry. I'm going to make a very quick pickle here. So I'm just going to add a couple tablespoons worth of white wine vinegar. I'm going to add a little bit of pepper, a pinch of sea salt, a little pinch of that brown sugar that I had. Give it a mix. You could actually do this with just lemon juice if you had lemon juice, or yeah, so it's gonna sit in here and then it'll just keep its crunch. It'll just add another dimension to the finished dish. So I'm gonna keep this to one side. So my pan is heating nicely. Let me just see. Cooksy doesn't look as good as Anthony's cooking. Don't tell Zach though. You guys are funny. You're funny. Does anybody have any questions? And I can bring you up onto the screen if you want. I'm happy to do that. Okay. While you think about that, I'm going to... So, a little dash of light olive oil. So I want to show you, just while this is heating, I want to show you my setup, because I think having your kitchen organized is really important, because the ergonomics, how everything is laid out, is super important, because it allows you to cook efficiently with everything to hand. So I always have my pestle and mortar right next to me. I always have some stock cubes in a little jar, all of my everyday condiments like pepper. I've got my salt, some finishing salts, my oils, all here, and then my kitchen utensils that I use every day. Actually, that doesn't go there. That goes up here. Okay. So my pan is nice and hot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop all this in here. And I'm going to allow it to cook. I mean, it's already cooked. So basically, it's going to be really a lot of liquid, and what you want is even if you were using fresh chicken, it would pretty much appear the same. And what you want is that the liquid reduces. So I would put your heat source to the highest temperature, and I would allow it to heat all the way through till it starts to bubble. And then once the bubbles start to become bigger and they sort of pop slower, it means that the liquid has thickened and it becomes really glossy. So just let it sit there until it starts to bubble. In another pan, I'm going to heat another pan. I probably should have done that before. In another pan, I'm just going to quickly cook the vegetables. So let me just scroll up while we wait. Who isn't a gun guy, me, huh? Or gin? Oh, gin. We love gin. Everyone likes a little bit of gin. Is it Turk? Yes, it's me. Hi, Abby. Are we trying to thicken the sauce? No. So, Erin, we're making an adobo. I don't know when you popped into this live cooking class, but we're using some unique ingredients here. We're actually using canned chicken, because that was the ingredient that was submitted by one of my followers. And I'm turning it into a chicken adobo. And I was just explaining that because it has vinegar and it has a fair bit of soy sauce in there, that you want to let it cook on the relatively high heat. Keep an eye on it so it just doesn't burn. And then you want to reduce the liquid. So it's going to reduce fairly quickly. I mean, I think you can already see. Okay, so you want the liquid to come out really glossy and thickened, and it's just thickened when it starts to evaporate. Okay, and don't forget, I will be adding the ingredients list below. So in my spare pan, I'm going to cook the bean sprouts and just a dread. Okay. I'm just going to cook them with the onions. Okay. Hopefully you have a much better view this way. Okay. Right. So I'm just going to saute my onions in my pan. Pardon me. One of my favorite tools in the kitchen is these bamboo tongs. They are great. I just love cooking with them. You can use them for so many different things. Keep an eye on your chicken. I'm not going to add any salt to this chicken because there's quite a fair bit of soy sauce. I will, however, add some black pepper. Okay. So my onions are sweating, what we call sweating. So I went to a French cookery culinary school, many years ago, back in 2000. What are we now? 2020. So 20 years ago, when I first started in the industry. 3 years of French culinary arts. I've always loved cooking. Anyways, I used to always watch my grandma, my mom cook every chance I can. I'm gonna now add my spinach. Give this a bit of a whirl. I'm gonna reduce the heat. So let's go back to this, because now you can see it's starting to thicken. Okay? if you look at how it coats the back of the spoon's really glossy. Maybe if I use this spoon. Yeah. So as it sticks to the spoon, you want it to thicken even further. So I'm just going to get the heat to medium while I cook my vegetables. I am going to add a pinch of salt. Now, if you've got to my spinach, if you've got fresh ginger, unfortunately the supermarkets didn't have fresh ginger, then add some fresh ginger in here. If you want to make it spicier, you can add some more chopped chilies in here. What I'm looking to do here is just wilting. I'm just wilting. I'm not boiling. I'm just wilting. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my sprouts. I love sprouts. And I want to I want them to retain their crunch. Okay, I don't want them to go soft and mushy. So, now, normally I would use my wok, but because I have a whole bunch of different pans on the go simultaneously, my wok is gonna just take too much space. And this is a small hob, so. Okay. So this is really, really simple. I mean, there's really not much to it. Okay, this is pretty much ready. I'm going to switch off my heat and then just leave it to the side here. We're now going to start plating, and we'll just arrange the garnish. Let me clean up a little bit here. So coming back to my chicken is doing really well. The liquid has reached a kind of like a syrupy consistency, which is what you want. It just means also that the sharpness of that vinegar has that vinegary taste has disappeared because the vinegar would have evaporated, and what's left behind is this very caramel like flavor. Okay, so that's done. I'm gonna add a little bit more pepper. I'm gonna taste a tiny bit. I mean, if I'm honest, the chicken has this, it's got the same texture as, chicken breast that you might have poached. So it's, and I don't actually taste anything other than the ingredients that I placed with it. So it's not bad. Not bad. Okay. I think now we're going to start plating. Okay, so I've got my bowl set out. I'm going to switch up the heat under my chicken. I'm going to spoon some... Actually, before I do that, let me get some fresh coriander ready. I love fresh coriander. Okay. I'm just looking for a rough chop, nothing too dainty and fine. It's good to have a little bit of color, okay? I'm going to get some of my chilies. Okay, I'm going to cut out a wedge of lime to serve with, and we can add it. Okay, so that's ready. I need a fork. Oops. When you are fluffing your jasmine rice, good tip is just use a fork, don't use a spoon, to just fluff it up like that, okay? There you go. So it's nice and fluffy. I'm just gonna make a little mound in my plate on, oops, on one side. I'm gonna add, so this is the black rice. So I've got 2 different types of rice just to add some color. Then I'm gonna add my vegetables. Like so. And next, so you see, pretty much all of the liquid has disappeared out of the pan, and that means it's, evaporated, and what you're left with is a syrupy, really fragrant, sort of sauce or gravy behind, underneath. So I'm gonna spoon this canned chicken. My hands are clean, by the way, if anybody's questioning my kitchen hygiene. My hands are clean. Okay. Okay, this was nice. Okay. Then I'm going to sprinkle some of my coriander, a little bit of chili, and serve with a wedge of lime. And tidy up your plate. Right. So you've got, I hope you can all see, I accept postal deliveries. You're so funny. So, we've gone to the Philippines to get some inspiration for today's dish. I made a chicken adobo with the mystery ingredient, which was chicken in a can. I'm serving it with some jasmine rice, some black rice, which, oh no, I used it all, but this is the black rice, some bean sprouts, and some wilted spinach, and I think we're going to give this a go. So I'm just going to, I'm going to squeeze my lime on. Fluff your jasmine. I fluffed my jasmine. And let's get a little bit of everything. A little bit of everything just to try it. Oh, do you know what I forgot? I forgot something, guys. My pickled radish. So, and then some pickled radish. Sorry. This is what happens when you cook live and you didn't, you didn't rehearse. So apologies for that. So you have the fluffiness of the rice, you've got that savory adobo chicken, you've got that crunch and tang from the quick radish pickle that I made, and some spice. So let's give this a little try. A little bit of everything, I say. Woo! Hi! Oh, why do we have snowflakes all of a sudden? Oh, filters. No. Okay, here we go. Let's get this a go. So, this is my canned chicken that I made this afternoon. Do you know what? You wouldn't even know that it's canned chicken. Because with all of the ingredients that have gone together with it, you just can't. You can't tell. Yeah. It's not bad. It's really good. The having that pickle, the pickle radish to go with the chicken, just gives it a really good contrast. It actually cuts through the saltiness from the soy sauce and everything. Yeah. So you can also drizzle at the end a little bit of the sesame oil into your vegetables before you plate up. Or you can just drizzle a little bit of the sesame oil about, on the finished dish. And there you go. Let's have a look at the comments. Because... let me move my stand. Got my little cup of tea. So, Amanda wants a mouthful. Don't be rude. Okay, whoops. Okay, looks hungry. Anthony, did you make enough for everyone? The whole idea is that I make this and then you try and make it at home. Don't think he did, Cara. Okay, so, you want some of that? Oops. Okay, great. Did, I had dinner, okay, super. Well, I'm so glad that you guys have joined. You've been wonderful. You've been absolutely wonderful. I don't think he did. What? I'm so hungry now. Oh, okay. Remember, so this recipe, you don't need to use canned chicken, clearly. I would personally be using fresh chicken. If you can get your hands on some dark meat, that works really well with this recipe. I'll make sure that the ingredient list is below, as well as the methodology when I edit the recording of this and post it on IGTV, as well as on YouTube. On the Sunday Cook channel. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And thank you so much, guys, for joining me this afternoon. I'm going to go and enjoy lunch. I hope that you get to make this, and I'll see you very soon. Take care, everyone. Bye. What's dark meat? Oh, sorry. Dark meat is things like thighs, drumstick, yeah. On the chicken, that is. On the poultry. Yeah. There's still a little bit of time, so if anyone has any other questions or cooking questions, I'm more than happy to help answer them. The gymnasium! Hi! So nice to see you. Thanks for joining. No, you weren't wrong, Cara. You weren't wrong. But in relation to poultry, dark chicken is everything other than the breasts, basically. Super. I will check it out, Abby Talbot. What time can I expect my delivery? I'm not sure. I'm not sure that you can deliver. Do you guys have Uber Eats in Inverness, Amanda? All right, great. Well, if there aren't any questions, it was super to welcome you to my tiny kitchen. I can't wait to see you next Thursday. I haven't selected the mystery ingredients yet, so if you want to see your ingredients in the cooking on Thursdays, then send me a message, a private message on Instagram, or if you want to be featured in the video, then make a little 60-second video clip of you introducing your ingredients. Remember, it's up to 5 ingredients, and then I'll select them randomly and come up with a dish. All right, guys. It was so nice to see you, and I'm going to see some of you later, I'm pretty sure. All right. Take care. Bye, and stay safe.